The Silk Road, a network of trade routes stretching across continents, connecting civilizations from the east to the west, from Asia to Europe. But this wasn't just a pathway for merchants carrying precious goods. Beyond the exchange of silk, spices, and other commodities, the Silk Road became a conduit for ideas, religions, technologies, and cultures that shaped the world as we know it today. For over 1,000 years, this ancient network bridged diverse civilizations, and its influence is still felt in modern cultural practices, beliefs, and traditions. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the profound cultural developments that the Silk Road facilitated between Asia and Europe, examining how trade, religion, technology, and art were forever altered by the interactions along this ancient route. To understand the cultural influence of the Silk Road, we first need to explore its origins. Established around the 2nd century BCE during the Han Dynasty in China, the Silk Road wasn't just a single path, but a series of interconnected routes. These routes spanned across Asia, through the Middle East, and into Europe. From the eastern terminus in Xi'an, China, the Silk Road wound through the harsh terrains of deserts and mountains, passing through regions like Persia, the Indian subcontinent, and the Levant, and extending into the Mediterranean, finally connecting with European trade networks. Though it's named after silk, one of the most highly sought-after commodities, the road carried much more. From precious gems and spices to art and technology, and most importantly, cultural exchange. The movement of goods on the Silk Road was perhaps the most tangible aspect, but it was the intangible exchange that left an even more enduring legacy. Ideas, religions, and cultural practices were transported across thousands of miles, often transformed and adapted by the cultures they encountered. The spread of Buddhism from India to China, and then throughout East Asia, the introduction of Zoroastrianism and Manichaeism, and later the expansion of Islam through Central Asia and into the Silk Road cities like Samarkand and Bokhara were all made possible by the travelers and traders who traversed these routes. Let's explore how these religions interacted with each other, coexisted, and sometimes clashed along the Silk Road, shaping the belief systems of countless people. The technological advancements that occurred due to Silk Road interactions are often overshadowed by the cultural and religious exchanges. However, the transfer of knowledge and inventions was equally significant. Chinese innovations like papermaking and gunpowder eventually made their way to Europe, revolutionizing warfare, communication, and administration. The knowledge of silk production itself, guarded as a state secret by China for centuries, eventually spread to the West, leading to the rise of the European silk industry. In the opposite direction, innovations in agriculture, irrigation techniques from Persia, and glassmaking methods from the Roman Empire found new homes in the East. This technological exchange was not one-sided, but instead represented a two-way flow of ideas and innovations that fueled the growth of empires. Trade along the Silk Road facilitated the transfer of not only goods and technology, but also art and architectural styles. The cultures that interacted along the route borrowed and blended artistic traditions, creating something wholly unique. In Buddhist cave temples of China, such as those in Dunhuang, we see Greek and Roman influences in the depiction of human figures, particularly in the realistic rendering of garments and poses. Similarly, Islamic art in Central Asia incorporated Persian motifs alongside Chinese designs, resulting in intricate, flowing patterns that became a hallmark of Islamic architecture. Europe also benefited from the exposure to Asian and Middle Eastern art, particularly in textiles, ceramics, and luxury goods that inspired European artisans to experiment with new techniques and styles. The Silk Road began to decline in importance by the end of the Middle Ages. Several factors contributed to this, including the rise of maritime trade routes that offered a faster, more direct way of transporting goods between East and West. Additionally, the instability caused by the Mongol invasions and the fragmentation of the Mongol Empire disrupted trade routes, making overland travel more dangerous. Despite this decline, the legacy of the Silk Road lived on. The exchanges in culture, technology, religion, and art had left an indelible mark on the civilizations it connected, and many of the innovations first introduced via the Silk Road continued to influence European and Asian societies for centuries to come. In modern times, the Silk Road still holds cultural and historical significance. Countries along the route have begun to embrace their Silk Road heritage, using it to promote tourism, foster international relations, and revive ancient cultural practices. Moreover, the concept of the New Silk Road, championed by China's Belt and Road Initiative, is a nod to the historical significance of the route and its potential to once again serve as a bridge between East and West, facilitating not only trade, but also cultural and technological exchanges in the 21st century. The Silk Road was more than just a trade route. It was a cultural highway that connected civilizations, facilitated the spread of ideas and technologies, and shaped the development of the world as we know it today. From the transmission of Buddhism and Islam to the spread of technologies like paper and gunpowder, the Silk Road's legacy can be felt in nearly every corner of the globe. In the end, the Silk Road reminds us of the power of exchange, how the movement of goods, ideas, and people can lead to the flourishing of civilizations and the creation of something new. Though the caravans may have stopped, the cultural pathways established by the Silk Road continue to influence us, reminding us of the interconnectedness of all humanity.